welcome to Bus Speakers. I'm Kush,
Alex.
and today we're reviewing Oisincoleman64, One Stop Chop Top. So Oisincoleman64 is, you might know him from our review of President of What, where he had a band made a pop punk, indie rock, metalcore, rap album, which was pretty. It was a decent album. Good for a first shot, and I think this one he calls it musical shitposting. So he, I think he contacted Alex saying that this is the worst album ever.
Yeah,
And
he contacted me saying LOL made like tried to make the worst album ever, and it'd be funny if you reviewed it. And because we're such nice guys, we're gonna give it a go for a review, and we did. So
yeah, I think so here's my justification. Well, not justification, my reasoning. The fact that he tried to make the worst album ever already makes him lose points. 'Cause
yeah.
I feel like it's not that hard to make bad music. It can't be that hard. Then
Oh, you can ask me. It's not that hard.
and it can't be as hard. And he also fails at it because there's like one song that is listenable on here. And if you want to take the worst album ever, you failed. I'm sorry, Oshin. You failed your job.
I didn't even think there was only one. I thought there was like at least five listenable or to good songs. But I don't know what I've been doing to think that. But he's got too much. He put too much effort into this to make it like the worst album ever. He's too like talented, I guess, for that to happen. I think he inadvertently made some of this too interesting, and sometimes even like ahead of its time, kind of. You know, he's just got too much talent to be the worst album ever, and he adds too much to some of these songs that even when they like don't work, and most of the time don't work, like they're a ragtag collection of ideas most of the time. But just because it's like interesting and doesn't physically hurt my ears, apart from a few moments, it's not too bad to me. So he really failed, in my opinion, to be the worst album ever.
Yeah.
And like I agree, that's like not the way to go about making music, I'd say, unless you're really gonna do it.
Yeah, so I think there are a couple songs that were bearable to me. John Cena
Okay.
wasn't bad. John Cena's okay. I mean, it
Yeah,
wasn't
I
good.
did.
Don't say good. It was just not super terrible. Yas Slay Queen. I think
Okay.
I thought that was kind of cool because of the mashup of all the other songs, that old school like.
Yeah, all the other artists. Yeah.
Yeah. Finger Licking Marbles was just like kind of bad Brian Eno music, which isn't. It was okay. It wasn't like I said. It's not good, but like if I had to listen to it, I wouldn't die. Uh,
Well,
Untitled actually had some nice guitars in the beginning. I actually like the guitars, but the vocals
well,
are
that's a
awful.
cover of another song.
But yeah, the
That's
vocals
a
are
cover
awful.
of another song. Yeah. Well, he purposely changed them for some reason. Maybe he was like, "Oh, wait, this has to be on the worst album ever. Better make something bad about it."
The one song, there's two songs that I despise. Well, the one I
Okay.
hate the most was Last Living Hits. That album,
Yeah.
that song I was at like fucking one volume level, and it still destroyed my ears. It was so
Yeah.
damn loud. Ah, Jesus Christ, that one hurt.
It's
That
not
one
even
hurt.
that. It's just I saw the title "Last Living Hits" and was like, that reminds me of "Last Living Souls" by Gorillaz. And yep, it's that. It's that. He speeds it up. He clips it a lot, and has a lot of oppressive noise at the end. But he basically does that. This feels like more of a conscious, lazy effort to make one of the worst songs ever, and it is one of the worst on here. But even then, I still feel like this had one good element to it. Just when the guitar feedback reaches its loudest point, which is very bad to the ears, like a really cool guitar riff comes out of it. So even then, I think that was like a cool part, even though that's like 1 second out of, I don't know, 90. So even the worst song on the album, potentially, I can't remember, has one little bit of worth to it. And if you're going to make the worst album ever, can't have any worth.
Yeah, I thought there were like 4 or 5 songs that had listenable components to it.
Yeah. My favorite was actually this could be 25 minutes long because that was the first song I heard from this. He just sent me that and said, "Oh, I want to experiment around with Dungeon Synth." And this is like just a little experiment he did to see if he could do it, and it does work as a little basic try at making Dungeon Synth. And I tried some other Dungeon Synth because I wasn't that aware with it. Like I had an idea of the sound, like 2D platformers and the 90s video gaming, like whenever you're in a dungeon level, that sort of electronic music. And it sounded as good as that, so I was happy enough.
Yeah, that was
I
okay. That was pretty good.
I actually quite liked finger licking marbles. I'm not gonna lie. I don't. Um, I saw this was 15 minutes long, and I thought, oh, here we fucking go. What's this gonna be? And then I saw the SoundCloud wave was weird of this. It was like progressively getting louder. I was thinking this must be really well composed for it to just progressively get louder. But I'm convinced this is just him experimenting around with Audacity. The Paul stretch feature. I don't know if you're aware of that.
On Audacity.
I've on Audacity, there's a feature to change recordings called Paul stretch,
Okay.
and I'm guessing they use that because all that does is like turn tracks on their head and adds weird amounts of echo, distortion, reverb, and like keeps repeating them until they overlap on each other. I'm convinced to use that on here. Because there's no way you could physically make a song that repeats this much and like without some serious like beyond your own control effects. But it didn't sound bad to me, it was captivating almost. It was scary. It was trippy. It does get a bit boring because it's 15 minutes, but I liked it a fair amount for some reason. I had a lot of good synthesizer atmospherics, and when I saw it was 15 minutes, I was dreading the worst. I thought it'd be like 15 minutes of Last Living Hits or Yas Slay Queen, but it wasn't. It was completely listenable to me.
Yeah, I think the very first song, you got a fastball in river and I got a light 310.
I don't even know what that means.
Me neither, but it was awful. And
Yeah.
then Twin Size Anthem came on, and that was awful. And I'm like, oh, he's doing a pretty good job so far. And then John Cena, I was like, oh, come on, you were on a roll. You were about to make me have to cry a little bit, and then this came on, it wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, I mean, even those songs I didn't think were that bad. I don't know. He constructed them in such a way that they just didn't sound that bad. He has enough skills structuring a song that even though they're bad elements, they're put together in a way. It's almost like double negatives. They almost work together and create something that is at least interesting. Like, you got a fastball in the river and I got a light 310. That uses the chords from Fast Car by Tracy Chapman for like the first half. And he like detunes it and makes it sound like it's out out of note or something. But it's still a good guitar riff to carry it, even though it's rendered really badly. And there's just some interesting stuff going on to me.
Yeah, and then the song How Do 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 Do. The song Welcome to Practically Nothing was the Owl City cover, Owl City sample.
I hate that.
That was terrifying. It brought back so many bad memories. There was a period in my life where that was my favorite song, and I regret that whole period.
Well, it's not that bad, I don't think. Fireflies, like, it's not good, but some people like call it one of the worst songs ever, and I can see why. I can see why people think that, even though I do not agree. But it's still not that good. But I thought his voice was kind of annoying anyway. But then making it high pitched and slow pitched and like a single vocal track makes it even more annoying. And I don't actually hate the song despite immense overexposure, but this just like makes that song into something completely unbearable to me. Like, I hate that. Also, did you notice that he like had samples of different reviewers at the start?
I did not notice that.
Like he has Anthony Fantano, like as a spoken word sample, or at the end of "You Got a Fastball in the River," I think, and during John Cena as well. It's weird to me. I don't know why. I was thinking, why aren't we there?
Yeah, I know, we should have been on there.
Yeah, especially since we reviewed the President of What album.
But yeah, what would you rate it, Alex, if you want to give it a rating?
I do. I mean, I didn't hate it. There was no aspect of this I really hated. He completely failed in my mind to make the worst album ever. It, a lot of it like intrigued me, like the way he went about trying to make the worst album ever. So this is probably going to be really surprising to you, but I'm going to give it 4.5. I honestly thought this had like some really interesting aspects to it, and I really liked like the 50-minute track. So that's like a good portion of the album. So if I liked that much of it, unashamedly, then it has to get a decent rating from me, even though 4.5 is still obviously not that good.
So for me, my rating on this one is not at all based on the actual music. I think I'm rating it based on how well he accomplished goal of making the best album ever, and he fails, so he gets a 1 out of 10. But
I think that's your lowest score.
yeah, but given it 1 out of 10, it's not gonna like be any of my year-end list because it wasn't an actual musical project. It was just like something he tried to make bad and trying to make goofy. So I'm gonna disregard it from any sort of like list. If I do end up doing like some sort of like worst albums ever list, then this is not gonna be on there because firstly I don't think it was that bad, and even if it was, I think just the fact that he tried to intentionally make a bad album disqualifies it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Train still has the worst album of the year trophy for me. I don't know, Jacob's Notorious actually. Never mind.
But that's an EP, so that's a different thing.
Oh no.
But yeah, if you enjoyed this review, make sure you like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel about this album in the comments below. Check it out. Let us know if you hate it as much as as much as we did, or don't hate it. And check us out on social media.